This movie is about Hercule Poirot, the best detective in the world, who chooses to take a trip on the Orient Express. Because of a small avalanche, the train stops by mistake. He didn't know that someone on the train was planning to kill someone and could do it. It is a summary of the movie Murder on the Orient Express, and you'll want to watch it again after reading this. In the 1930s, the movie starts at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. A known spy from Belgium, Hercule Poirot, tries to figure out who took a holy item from a room and why. Where a priest, rabbi, and imam were running a meeting while the chief was watching. Poirot is shown to be picky, almost obsessive-compulsive, about how everything in his life is done. Balanced, as shown by the fact that he sent back 2 eggs he would eat because they were too small and different sizes. It's possible to figure out who did it from a single crack in the wall. Actually, the chief of police and religious leaders, who lived simple lives, had no reason to lie. To steal the treasure and was wearing soft shoes, while the chief was wearing hard shoes, who tried to get away but failed. Poirot is looking forward to his upcoming trip now that the bad guy has been caught and the relic has been found. Taking a break from solving crimes, Poirot gets on a boat in Istanbul and meets a woman named Governess Mary. Debenham and a young black doctor called Arbuthnot are also on board. When he arrives, he runs into his old friend Bouc, now the head of the famous Orient Express. But right after they see each other again, Poirot gets a message from London. A case needs his attention immediately. Poirot is upset that his long-awaited vacation has to be cut short, but Bouc offers to take care of him. The Orient Express took him to France. The trip will take 3 days, so Poirot is happy to have that much time to rest. When Bouc gets to the train, he is surprised that all the seats have been taken. This only happens sometimes, but one of the guests didn't show up on time, so his ticket was lost. There are also a lot of other people on board. Besides Debenham and Arbuthnot, Samuel Rachel, an unpleasant American, and his servant Edward Masterman, and his maid Professor Gerhard Hardman from Austria, the American aristocrat Mrs. Hubbard, the Italian, Beniamino Marquez, the old Princess Dragomirov, and Hildegard, who works for her, are all in the play. Schmidt, the sad missionary Pilar Estravados, and then the Count and Countess Andronay. The first night and day go by without any problems, but Poirot is annoyed that he has to share a room. McQueen in his room. The next night, Ratchet approaches Poirot and asks him to be his protection for the whole trip because he's been getting scary letters, and he thinks they are from people who bought fake drawings from him in the past. Poirot doesn't like Ratchet right away, and he says no because he is looking for crooks. Not helped him at all. Ratchet offers Poirot more and more money and even threatens him in a roundabout way with. Poirot is given a gun, but he won't be bought or scared, and he leaves in anger. Poirot, who had been moved to Bouc's cell, is looking forward to a good night's sleep that night, but there needs to be more to go around. First, a noise comes from the room next to his, but when the conductor named Pierre Mitchell asks about it, a voice tells it that everything is okay. A bell and a knock also wake up Poirot, and he sees a person during the noises. He was running down the hall in a red robe. The train is stopped in its tracks by a snowfall, leaving everyone on board getting stuck in the queue. Poirot is thrown out of bed and sees Marquez picking up photos that fell on the floor. Everyone waited since the express was supposed to get to the next stop the next day. They will have to wait until someone comes to help. Poirot finds out in the morning that Ratchet was killed in his bed during the night. He had been stabbed many times in a classic locked door crime. Bouc asks Poirot to look into the case, but Poirot initially turns him down. After all, they were meant to be on vacation. Bouc asks him to investigate the murder because the Yugoslav police will probably do the same. A person to blame, and they may choose Marquez or Arbuthnot. When he hears this, Poirot gives up and agrees. After making sure that no one got in or out of the carriage during the night and that no one had left or came in, Poirot knows that if someone who shouldn't be there is on the train, any of the other riders or the killer could be the conductor. He hires Bouc as his helper but can't find Bouc because he is sleeping in another carriage. Be the one who kills. Ratchet's body was found to have been stabbed 12 times, but the wounds were not deep. They are not consistent. Some are very dangerous, but others are not very deep. This means that the killer was drunk, but Ratchet was strong, armed, and in good shape. He was already cautious, so it's very doubtful that he was beaten. When they look in his room, they find the threatening letters and a note that has been torn up, putting together Ratchet and Daisy Armstrong's case. Poirot remembers the case. A little girl named Daisy Armstrong was taken from her home and then killed. Even though her family paid the ransom, she was still killed, which caused her mother, Sonia, to enter labor early. She and her baby died during labor, and Daisy's father soon killed himself. Lanfranco Cassetti was the man who killed Daisy, but he got away with it, and Poirot and Bouc quickly determined from the clues that Ratchet was Cassetti and that whoever killed Cassetti was Ratchet. He may have had something to do with that case. Some more clues are found, like a bloody cloth with the letter H on it, and the Mrs. Hubbard's room has a button from a conductor's outfit. She used to work as a conductor, saying that someone was in her room. An examination of Mitchell's clothing shows that all buttons are there. Everyone's bags are checked except for the Count and Countess, who have official immunity. When the uniform doesn't show up, Poirot figures that the person who did it is trying to trick him. He finds the kimono he saw the night before in his bag. Later, Mrs. Hubbard is stabbed in the back, but the wound is so small that she can't go to the hospital. Later, the uniform with the missing button is found on an overhead rack. The Orient Express is stuck in the snow, but a relief team comes and starts digging it out. Poirot and Bouc talk to McQueen and find out that he had a reason to kill the man because he had been following them, taking money from Cassetti's bank account. They also find a link to the Daisy Armstrong case. McQueen's father had tried to bring charges against Daisy Armstrong. Armstrong's nursemaid, which led her to kill herself, ruined his career. People knew the truth. As Poirot talks to people and looks into things, he finds that many of the travelers had a link to Daisy Armstrong. Princess Dragomirov was the godmother of Sonia Armstrong. Schmidt was the Armstrongs' cook, and her mother, Linda Arden, was a friend of Schmidt's. Daisy's father was in the army with Marquez, who drove the family's car. Debenham was Daisy's governess, but she had fallen asleep when the girl was taken. Masterman worked as a servant for the Armstrongs. The most important link, though, is Countess Androne. She is Helena Goldenberg, Daisy's aunt. Even with all this information, Poirot still can't determine who did it. While Debenham is being questioned about the murder, Arbuthnot, a police officer, comes up to him. Someone claims to have killed the man. He tries to shoot Poirot but misses, so he runs away. Poirot discovers that Arbuthnot never meant to kill him because he was a good shot in the army and would never have missed a shot at such close range, and asks that all the suspects need to get together, which they do quickly, for some reason, in the cave. Poirot says that there are two possible ways to explain the murder. The first is that the murderer was a thief. Ratchet made a lot of enemies over the years, and one of them killed Cassetti. After the murder, they got on the train and left. The second one is crazy, but it fits better with the facts. Everyone on board participated in the murder. Poirot has found even more links between the Daisy Armstrong case and the death of Gerhard Hardman. An American detective named Cyrus loved the nurse who was wrongly charged, who turns out to be Mitchell's sister, while Mrs. Hubbard is Linda Arden. He has decided that since no one person could have done it, all suspects must have done it. No one knows who went into Cassetti's room and stabbed him as a way to kill him. He was killed, and by whom? Arden says she brought everyone together because she was determined to make Cassetti pay for his actions to her daughter and niece. Poirot tells Arden he is the only one who can reveal their plan. He left his gun on the table for someone to shoot him. Arden picks it up, but she tries to shoot herself instead. The gun isn't loaded, though, so it doesn't work. Poirot was just curious about what she would do. He looks on as Arden breaks down and starts crying. The train is dug out, and it keeps going. Poirot thinks there is no way to find justice in this case because everyone on the ship has been killed. Cassette's crimes had already caused a lot of pain, and Cassette himself was the wrong person who. He killed someone and got away with it, so he deserved what happened to him. He says that this is one way in which letting 12 murderers go free is an unfair need to deal with. When the train arrives at the station, Poirot tells the police that his first idea is the killer was a foe of Ratchet, who had now run away. The cops believe him, and the other people on the bus keep going. At this point, Poirot gets off the train, eager to finally get some sleep. Once again, though, his name has spread, and a messenger comes up to him as a death on the Nile means he must go to Egypt. Poirot chooses to take the case, even though he is tired. He stops for a moment to look at the Orient Express get farther and farther away. To watch more movie recaps, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.